It's 5 o'clock, so we'll call this meeting to order. And if you could all please rise and remove hats, and we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will hear a motion to approve agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda as published.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes. So we'll move on to public comment. I would just remind everyone here in the audience that there is a 3-minute time limit. My timekeeper's back, so. And I would add the comment as based on our Lake Pend Oreille Code, Policy 4105, that there will be no abusive language allowed or personally directed comments. That is straight out of our code. So I will be a little more diligent on that point tonight. And I thank you for your respect on this. And first up is Lillian Beltran. Yes, right here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lilian Beltran, and I'm a substitute teacher, and I have had the opportunity to be from kindergarten to high school. And I have realized that there's a need for subs and parapros. Both of them are undervalued. They're not nannies. The teachers are really responsible. They take very seriously, and the parapros have the responsibility of the life of a child, the education, their movement, the way they eat, everything. And unfortunately, we don't have them enough of any of those because the salaries are very, very, very low. The parapros, they make less money than a nanny, than a child from the middle school. And sometimes they're one-on-one with the kids. And none of us is exempt of having a kid of special needs because our child can have an accident, and then our child will be one of those. So I would like to see if there's a way to increase the salary of the paras and to have more parapros because they make less money than a kid in Walmart or than a kid in Wendy's or those places. If you try to get a child with a private education like that, it will cost $39,000 just a school a year for 10 months. And one of the parapros doesn't make that. They make around from $13,000 to $20,000 a year with the same responsibility than in a private institution. And most of the people who work as a parapro, they do it because they have kids with special needs, so they know that there's a need for parapros. And the rest of the people, they don't want it because they said there's no enough money to live from that. And the same as a substitute teacher, when there's a teacher that doesn't go, we need to go and get the same system that the teachers have. In long term, we need to do grades. We need to take care of their behavior, their life, no drugs, no arms, no nothing. And there are not enough substitute teachers because when they sub for a parapro, they get $34 a day. So nobody wants to sub for a parapro. So that day, they suffer badly. And when they sub for a teacher, they make $80 a day, which also is not much because you need to have a degree, you need to have special education, sometimes we need to even have CPR. So that's my main concern, that we need both of them, and we need to increase the salary if it's possible, because otherwise people don't do it. I made 90% of my time in subbing for parapros, and I have tried to convince people that I know that they're capable or they have the teacher degree to go and do it, and they won't do it. We have teachers that, because we don't have the positions, they're working in Subway, they're working in restaurants because they make more money than in the school system. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our next is Sherry Tilford.
Hello, my name is Sherry Tilford. I have just a couple things that I want to call attention to this evening. First, I want to remind the board that I would love to see a code written to codify parent sovereignty for all medical choices for their children, regardless of how simple or complicated those medical choices are. I've recently been made aware that this school district was awarded $2.5 million of federal money, which I can only assume is for some sort of COVID relief. I went on the board or the school district's website. I couldn't find any information about it. I know that federal dollars always come with some sort of strings attached, and I think it would benefit the community as a whole to know what those strings are, and if that includes pushing some sort of injection on students, I think that's incredibly dangerous and ill-informed. I would like to point out that in the parental survey that was put out over the summer of all the items that were asked about, the information about vaccines, and I put that in big quotes, was dead last with 78% or 79%, excuse me, listing it as 9th of 9 topics that were in order of importance. I don't think anyone is unaware that there's a shot available. So getting on to my main point, because that was just a side item. I would like to point out the power that we all have to choose in this world and to create the world that we want to live in. We have power to create all sorts of things for ourselves and for our community. One thing we don't have the power to do is keep people from getting sick. But you as a board have the power to keep children from having to deal with tyrannical overreach and mandates that don't make sense, either from common sense perspective, scientific perspective, medical perspective, or just joy perspective. I don't envy your positions as board members, but that doesn't mean I don't hold you very seriously responsible for the choices you make that affect our entire community, because what affects the children affects the community and it affects our future. We as people in general might feel powerless sometimes, but we all have the power to say no and not to comply with things that go against our strongly held beliefs. It's not possible to escape the madness that we all fear, that we all feel infecting our world, but I have a quote from Muhammad Ali. He says, "Impossible is just a big word thrown around by small people who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration, it's a dare."
Perfect. That was well timed. I would invite Tara Doss to come forward.
Hi there. Our family moved to Sagal a year and a half ago, and came from Alaska. Homeschool, been part of the Homeschool Academy for the last school year and this year, and love it. I felt very thankful to have that, to be a part of our family's lives. We've got 7 children, we've homeschooled, and welcomed this opportunity. One of the reasons we chose Northern Idaho is because of the freedoms enjoyed here. And homeschooling was one of them. And I fear if we don't do something that might change. And I don't know where the school stands right now. I've heard rumors of masks and vaccinations, and I don't know any decisions that have been made, and just wanted to make a plea before any decisions were made that we would appreciate keeping the freedoms that makes this an amazing place to be a part of. Thank you.
Thank you. And Levi Doss.
Yeah, I moved here with my wife. So yeah, I saw you guys shake your head when Sherry asked, when she said that you guys received $2 million federal funding. You guys.
That's yes. That's a yes. The
And
no
then-
is.
And then the no was because of.
Vaccination strings attached do not exist.
And
Yeah.
so, but you guys won't answer what strings were attached to it?
Outside of this meeting, we won't not, but I will look into where it is on our website that information's
Awesome.
available, so,
Thanks.
yeah.
So-
That is something,
Those funds are,
Gary, we're not gonna engage right now, but we will find out where it is on the website.
And then on the website, will you guys also show what you did to receive it? Like, and then where the money went? And then, so we will pull our kids out if the masks are mandated. And because of the studies that show that kids are not harmed by getting COVID, and it is deleterious to their well-being and social life of being covered up. And so if you guys do mandate masks and vaccines, so do you guys think you will ever mandate vaccines?
It's not, that's not something we're even considering. So
Okay.
it's not on the conversation, so.
Not on the
Thank you.
agenda. It's-
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. It wasn't asked. So the other thing is, none of this was on the agenda 3 years ago. So it's a slippery slope.
Yeah,
So I appreciate you guys. Thanks.
thank you. And Gwen Pogue.
Well, I really appreciate all of you as serving. Anybody who is a servant is a real giving person. And I'm here tonight to thank the school board because I'm very grateful for the protocol that's in place. I've invested my life in my grandson who goes to the school there, and his psychosocial being is much improved this year. He at least has a lunch break, and his friends are all very happy. And because I am a healthcare professional, there are many things that we should be talking about to boost your immune system. And these are just some couple of simple little things that I brought today. And I've come to realize that a lot of people don't know about these things. But anyways, these are very simple things that you can do. And so far, I've been keeping my grandson healthy and me healthy. There's a lot of other people that aren't so healthy, whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated. But Listerine, the original Listerine, mouth rinse in the morning and at night, and if you go into a public place. And so when I go to work, I do it in the morning, I do it at my lunch break, and I do it later, and I've got my grandson doing it. These emergencies, vitamin C, we should be taking 1 to 2 grams of vitamin C. This is an easy way for kids to take it, or you can take it by tablet. And most of us are deficient in vitamin D3. I just recently had my level done, and fortunately I'm above the norm because I've been really taking a lot of vitamin D3. It's not really a vitamin, it's a hormone, and it has a myriad of value, and anybody who's a teacher should really be boosting their immune system. And so you take 5,000 units of that. Our nasal passages have high titers of bacteria and viruses. And X-Clear is just a very simple nasal spray that you can buy over the counter. And 2,400 years ago, they were using silver. Everybody drank out of silver to protect their water supply in ancient times. And Sovereign Silver is a very bioavailable nasal spray that you can use to keep your bacteria and viruses at bay. And I think I have one more. Oh yeah, I have one more thing here. And zinc lozenges. And so if any of you haven't been taking these, please do so. Teachers need rest. I think our school nurse should be teaching the children to have good sleeping habits. Their cells are multiplying and dividing at a huge rate, and they need sleep, and they need to have a lunch break, and they need to eat food. So I'm very grateful, and I don't want the teachers to be overworked. I want them to respect their immune systems and to take care of themselves, because we have a lot of value in our own bodies, and we can do a lot to help ourselves stay healthy during this time. So thank you for all you do, and that's just my little presentation.
Melinda Rossman? That's a tough,
That's a tough act to follow.
showing tough.
You know, Gwen, I should have said, God, she beat me in here and
Yeah.
saw her run up the stairs.
Concentrate.
I want to talk about truth. I'm Melinda Rossman. I work in play here. Truth. She just spoke the truth. We're not being told to take care of ourselves in an appropriate way, nutritional and to protect ourselves. We're being told to take a poison. That's not the truth. That's not good for us. The truth is that people are being beaten in the street in Canada right now because they're not wearing a mask or they're speaking against the poison. The truth is people are being beat and put in prison in the street in Australia because they're not taking the poison and they're not wearing the mask. The truth is we're being lied to. The truth is that our government is imploding on itself by the second with the poor leadership that is in Washington, D.C. And people are so complacent. They think it's this flu that's going around. They think that's the problem. The truth is, not very many people are paying attention and they're listening to the mainstream lies. That's the truth. The truth is we all got to get on our feet, we all got to get in the street, and we all got to be speaking the truth, that this is not just a conspiracy theory, but it's a political crime. It's a conspiracy. It's a crime. That's what's going on against us. And the constant changing of rules. There's new rules. No, rules don't trump the Constitution. Rules don't trump our liberty. Rules don't trump our freedom. The made-up rules that change by the day and based on what's going on in our failing government, that's the truth. We've got to stand up against this tyranny. And it's getting really close to home, guys. It's exponentially getting close to home. And the truth is, parapros don't make enough money, for all they're asked to do. That's just nationwide. You could work at McDonald's and make more. But I thank you for being such a diligent lover of children and caring for children and helping the children. The truth is, I'm afraid for our country. I'm afraid for everything in our country right now. We all have to be more vigilant. We have to stop the lies. This isn't about the flu. This is about something wicked and evil. And we've got to protect our children and we've got to protect our country. People are relying on us. We're Americans. By God, we're Americans. I wanted to sing It's a Grand Old Flag, but I could probably sing it out of key. Sing it in the shower. I love this country. I love working with people. I love educating people. I love this country. And I want people to speak the truth.
Lonnie Blair?
First off, amen to Melinda's words, right on the money. And I wonder if we truly all hear and take literally the words we speak when we say the Pledge of Allegiance. We think about that one. Your only job as elected position, in the elected positions you hold, is to secure the rights of our children. That temporary right granted to each of you by parents, a higher power, the parents, and the people of our community, to a lower power, you. It's a temporary position because it's conditional. The purpose of the power we delegate to you is to secure our rights as parents to our children. When you fail to secure our rights, we have the authority to take that power we've dedicated to you, back to ourselves, to secure our rights as individuals. You all know the issues at hand. You've been shown plenty of the facts and proof of parents' stance on masks, the sexual stuff introduced to our kids at school, and mandated shots for public school attendance. That includes all vaccines. All of our voices through the past year, when actually the burden of proof is on you. It's not on us. It's for you to show us proof of why you think they should wear masks, proof of why they should be given these shots. It's proof of why and clarity, and you need to show, like they said last time, on the website exactly what you are teaching our children. And every little detail, every little picture, every little piece of curriculum that's being given to our kids. The truth and transparency of what you're actually instilling to each of our children. It's for you to show us the science or whatever proof you have to us. This is not an, I was told to do this. That's not enough. It's illegal, and it's just not good enough. And now I'd like to say a prayer. Dear Father, I just ask for the presence of you in this room, the protection of these families, the stance of Americans, as we all are, to take a stand for your will. Just bless each one of these families with health, discernment, and wisdom. In Jesus' holy name, amen. And you're welcome for my time.
Thank you. Thank you. And Kristen Dodd.
Hi, Ian. My name's Kristen. First, I want to start out by saying thank you to Superintendent Albertson for confirming with me at the last meeting that the Bonner County Housing Agency proposal was not going to be considered because it would be illegal for the board to enter into a property investment scenario such as the one that was proposed by Rob Hart several weeks ago. So thank you for clearing that up with me. Also, I just was reminded, I wanted to say thank you for addressing the curriculum online issue. I know that you've taken some attention to that. I haven't had a chance to go through all of it, but it's my understanding that you've done some updating, so I appreciate that. I also want to say that I know that the public board meeting was a bit rough. I know for me it is difficult to forget that this same board mandated that our children wear masks last school year. With good reason, we as parents are concerned that this will happen again. I know you want to do your best to represent the taxpayers and the parents, and even though the survey that went out several months back indicated that an overwhelming 89% of parents disagreed with any sort of mask mandates, I think it's important to continue to voice some of the things that I've come to know and where I stand as a parent and taxpayer. I'd like to again ask that the board never schedule any vaccine clinics on any school grounds. I want to make sure that parents are in control and present anytime their child is even potentially exposed to literature or language about the COVID shot. There should also never be a time that a child has the opportunity to obtain an inoculation of any sort without their parents being present. I've seen this done in other school districts, so I ask that the board let their intentions on this matter be known on record. I'd also like to again ask that the board and superintendent discontinue sending any kind of communications out to families that are recommending that children wear a mask or that they obtain a vaccination. I would like to propose that instead, any communications about the health of our children are rephrased to encourage families to consult with a medical professional to decide what is best for their children. It is irresponsible and inappropriate for the board or superintendent to be giving out any sort of medical advice. I would think that you carry a tremendous amount of legal and moral liability when you make these recommendations, especially if these recommendations lead to injury. I know it's been said by myself and others many times before, but I want to remind you of the significant risk that is involved with wearing a mask, physiologically, mentally, and emotionally. Anytime something comes with significant risk, it should never be mandated. I'm including a link to a short video where a Dr. Stillwagon speaks at a Board of Commissioners meeting about the very serious risks involved with wearing a mask, increasing your chances of developing an upper respiratory infection, among others. I ask that every member of the board and Superintendent Albertson watch this. It's only 3.5 minutes long. I've included a link. And then just thank you in advance for respecting the rights of the parents and our children. And as always, I thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Ryan Caruth.
Hello. I'd like to start with a couple questions. Going back to the recommendation for children to take the vaccine, and also Mr. Albertson, you expressed your excitement about, or your hope that there would soon be an approval for younger children. Were you aware of the VAERS database at that time?
We're not going to do a Q&A
Were you
at
aware
this.
that there were 15,000 deaths? I'll just ask my questions even though you're not going to answer them.
That's
I'll just
perfect. And
ask
we'll notate
We
it.
get used to asking questions that are unanswered by you. Were you aware that there were 15,000 deaths, over 15,000 deaths, over 700,000 adverse events? Mr. Albertson, can you look at me when I'm speaking to you?
Excuse me, we're not going to...
Were you aware of the risk of myocarditis, heart inflammation? Are you aware of the recent studies which show that children are more likely to die from the injection than to be hospitalized by COVID-19? Were you aware, Mr. Suppiger, Mr. Kelly? Were you aware, Mr. Williams? Were you aware, Ms. Lewis? Were you aware, Mr. Albertson, of this data maintained by Health and Human Services as you're looking at me with a smug grin on your face? Were you aware that children are dying right now after receiving the jab, paralyzed? Do you know what transverse myelitis is? Partial paralysis of a 12-year-old child that should be jumping and playing with joy with the rest of his friends, now hospitalized for life. Is this setting into you? Are you aware of the risks before you're promoting a product to people? Recommend that they inject this to their children, this product? Were you aware of the risks? Were you? I'm not so sure. We cannot accept a society where taking a pharmaceutical product becomes prerequisite to participation, to go grocery shopping, to work, to worship, to gather, to be a father, a son, a neighbor, a friend, to go to the bar and have a beer, a meal with some buddies. We cannot accept a society where this becomes prerequisite, yet it is barreling down the pipe. And we are asking for you to do more. And I want you to be reminded that you work for us. We will not be dictated to. We will not be mandated to by the school board. You will do what we ask. And all these people are asking for very clear things. They're asking for you never to make a statement again to recommend this product to children. Ever. Is that clear? Do you hear the will of the people? And if there are people in this crowd who think that we should be injected against our will, then let you come forth and debate. And share with me how this product is safe. How do you demonstrate that this product is safe? How do you demonstrate that this product is effective when the own manufacturer's data says otherwise? Does not disrupt transmission. Does not stop you from getting infection.
Thank you.
Yeah, do you thank me really? Do you mean it? Do you hear the people? Do you understand the significance of what we're dealing with?
Time's up.
Do you understand what this is?
For sharing with the board.
Thanks.
And your oath of office to uphold the Constitution and to represent the will of the people?
And at this time, I will hear a motion to approve consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any questions?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. We'll move on to board action, and the first item is our school operational continuous review from Superintendent Albertson.
Yeah, thank you. Just want to start off with just keeping you apprised of district enrollment. And as of the end of each week, and I'll just go to the very end here, try to make that larger. We were steady from the end of week 2 to the end of week 3 with 3,876. I believe you have a hard copy there from each school. Didn't know if you had any questions about the enrollments for the district at this time.
Are there any questions regarding enrollment?
None No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Next, I would like to share with you, this is just data that our school nurses track. And these are from just the cases that are confirmed within our school district only. And you can see it by school. And we're currently at...
Can you blow that up a little more?
I'll try.
I think he
Can
just
you
means hitting the
maximize
green.
window?
Yeah. I'll just go to...
You can make the whole thing bigger.
Yeah. Just gotta get
Oh,
to
because
it
you want to
too,
jump back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I see.
So currently, there are 50 active cases. We do have a few schools where we have concerns, which I will talk a little bit about as far as staffing, and just adjust that a little bit. So basically, our nursing staff, and this is posted every day as updated on our website, so people can track and see what schools and how many are active. So this last column is the actual active cases, and then the total active is here with the total number at this point in time. Are there any questions by
Yeah,
any of the
scroll
board members?
to the headings on that again, where it tells.
The very top?
Yeah, so that's students in the first column and staff in the second. Okay.
Correct.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So it looks like Farmers Stidwell and Sandpoint High are
Right.
the majority of the
Okay.
cases.
Next thing I would like to present to you is I wanted to compare our attendance rate. And keep in mind, one thing that we have very much asked is parents to monitor their own students' health and to keep them home if they're not feeling well. That's feeling well for any reason, any type of illness. It's just not. I wanted to compare week 2 to week 3. So I went the percent absent, and this is a little, I want to say this has got some margin of error here, because this is if they are absent for any reason for any part of the day. Could be a dentist appointment. It's just what we calculate as our attendance. So, for example, week 2, average attendance, average absence for the week was 16.8%. So if you think about that, it was about an 83.2% attendance rate. But we also track for parents who volunteer that they're keeping their students home because they're not feeling well or something, we try to track that separately. So of that 16.8%, 8.4 were just voluntarily by parents were for those reasons.
Okay.
And then week 2, you see that the attendance rate was a little less, a little higher in absence, but the report from parents keeping their kids home for any reason was about the same. So you can see this, and I think you have a hard copy in front of you. It's just something that we are tracking just to see where we are. Notice that, some of the elementary schools, for example, Sagal, was only 8.4% absent rate week 2, and then 10.5. They're actually doing very well there. So, again, any questions about that?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have a general, and not talking about this beforehand, but do you have a general idea on like a regular?
Yeah, we usually are around 90% attendance.
90.
And that's what our goal always is.
Okay.
But again, we're asking parents, and I do appreciate the partnership with parents, and that just call in and just to keep schools open voluntarily or keeping their kids home.
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
Are there any school areas you're concerned about looking at this data? It's hard to.
There's so many other factors there.
Yeah.
Probably more concerning to me will be this next slide, which would be comparing, let's see if I can make this bigger. So what I wanted to share with you were the tracking our staff for the first 3 weeks of school for 2020 and how many absent reports we got, okay? Or actually sub-requests. So what we were talking about, and this is for any reason, this doesn't mean that they're out sick, it could be for a planned anything, you know. And so you can see the data here. Let's take the 3rd week of school 1 year ago, for example. There were 108 absences from staff reported. Only 70 of those actually required a substitute. So some of those other positions were positions that we wouldn't get a sub for. Of those 70, 52 were filled. Unfilled, we had 18. And so when we say unfilled positions, that doesn't mean we don't have school. What it means is that we have paraprofessionals that may fill in. We may have other teachers on their prep times do some teaching. So we cover within. So, but I just wanted to compare the 2020. Let's see if I can. To this year. And you can see if we take the 3rd week, a comparison 1 year to 1 year, there were 127 requests. 111 of them needed subs. We were able to fill 73. There were 38 that went unfilled that basically we needed to fill with pulling some parapros from other classes in to make sure that we have instruction going. And so far we've done pretty well, but I am here to let the board know that there are a few schools that we're getting very, very close. And if we have trouble with staffing, there may have to be a short, and I don't mean close the schools down, but there may have to be a day that we may not be able to run a certain school if we can't cover for subs. I will work as hard as I can to avoid that because kids need to be in school. And hats off to administrators, teachers, everybody, paraprofessionals, everybody is chipping in, all hands on deck to make sure that we have that covered, to make sure that we are keeping schools open. But we are kind of in one school particular, and I think we're going to be okay. But I just wanted to let the board know that per the purview that I have, if there is a snow day, if the weather, the roads are too, making an administrative decision or too dangerous to run the buses on or to have school, we would have school closure. This would fall within that same purview. We would not need to have a special board meeting.
I was just going to ask,
right.
Would be made sort of on a that day basis.
Yeah,
because you get the
we want to make
information
sure
in the
that we
morning.
have great communication to parents, and like I said, this is not what any of us are planning on. It's not planned right now, but I just wanted to bring that up because it is important. So I guess my report is we are, as you may see in trends, that things are looking better in some areas. But we are getting hit fairly hard with some of our staff needing to be out. So I just, that's kind of my report for today.
Okay. Questions for Tom?
Are we short substitute teachers also?
Yes, we could use more substitute teachers. That's correct.
And what are the qualifications for a substitute teacher?
There's two. Basically, you have to sign up at the district office. You'd have to get fingerprinted and do the background check to be a substitute teacher. If you are certified, then there's a higher pay grade versus if you're not certified. You know, so there's.
Do we ever advertise for substitute teachers?
We do.
We do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions regarding the update we've just received? So I would go on. I'm gonna refer right back to you again on this mass action versus
Yeah.
Juul.
Basically, this is not initiated by Lake Ponderay School District at all. It was brought to all school districts in the state of Idaho, and basically their company, Juul, Juul, is a company that makes e-cigarettes and vaping devices. And this has been a proposal at no cost to the school district if we wanted to be part of a mass action suit against Juul and for the harm that it's done and the advertising that it's been done targeting the youth. With that, like I said, there is no cost out. We're not, we would just, you as a board would decide, yes, you would want to join this or not. I don't know what the monetary outcome would be. It would be in education of the dangers of e-cigarettes, of vaping, and maybe some money to help with that education piece. I don't know how much. I mean, it's pretty, like I said, it's no action on our part other than yes or no, and every school district has that opportunity. I did talk to our building administrators, especially our high school and middle school administrators. They felt that just to help educate and to help with, you know, that piece, that they were in favor of it, but it really would be a board's decision of whether you would want to or not.
Have we, what's the time frame on this sort of lawsuit?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. Is it this month? Is it October 1st? There's
recall
two
the middle
stages.
of-
There's a law firm out of Boise that basically is running this, and I believe that October 1st is their preferred deadline for school districts, but then you
To
could
join or
also
not.
decide later too. If you guys didn't feel good about it and didn't want to, it's, like I said, this isn't a major at all. I just felt like I wanted to bring it to you to see if it was, excuse me,
Is
something you'd be interested in.
Is this a sort of thing we would consult with our law firm on?
I don't believe it would even involve our attorneys at all. It's, the law firm in Boise is Anderson, Julian and Hull, which is an educational
We
law
know.
firm
Yeah.
that is basically part representing the state against the company Juul.
So they are one law firm of many in other states.
I'm sure, yes.
Yeah, good point.
It's the
This
law
is just
firm.
Idaho's
Right.
piece of this.
Yeah,
It's a national, this is a big national
Right.
case.
I mean, I've been
against
involved
Juul.
in lots of class action lawsuits.
Right.
I mean, the lawyers and the accountants make all the money, you know, the victims
No, it
get
wouldn't be,
nothing, you know.
it wouldn't be because we'd be getting anything
But
back
I mean,
except
since
for,
there's no liability either,
right.
This is not about us getting money. This is
No.
this is an industry,
It's about making a stand
yes,
against
and trying to help educate
and
young
spread
like I
teenagers.
information
said,
about.
the money
Making a
that
stand
we,
against an evil
So-
industry.
the money that the money that we could receive back would be, or could
Or
be in
spend
the
on-
education piece.
Yeah.
Could I say
So
something?
we'll have is there any thoughts from the board on this issue? I don't see a harm in us.
Is it a problem that we have in our schools, e-cigarettes?
It has been, yes, it
And do
is.
we have a program ongoing as far as
Awareness.
drug
We do.
abuse and awareness?
We do,
And would this money go toward that? It could be used?
correct, yeah.
is there a trend? You know, is this increasing, decreasing?
What's happening is what started off when e-cigarettes came out, which was simply just a nicotine that was in that, is now it's very hard. And I could have our school resource officers come to another meeting to talk to about it, but there have been what they call dabs, which is a waxy substance, which is has THC in it, that it can also be put into those. So e-cigarettes are not allowed on school grounds, not allowed on school campuses, and they are confiscated and taken away from students. So I'm saying is that the use and what kids are using them for is increasingly becoming more dangerous to them. There have been some cases of some students needing maybe some medical attention due to what the substances they put into the e-cigarettes. So it is a problem, absolutely.
So if I understand correctly.
So, do you support it?
Yeah, like I said, there is no harm to us. There's no money out. There's no attorney fees for us. There is, I just want you to know there's no real, I don't know really what the outcome is going to be and what the gain will be for us. It won't cost us anything, but the presence of trying to help with that education piece.
So if I understand correctly, this would require a motion from the board to go ahead if we decide to do that.
So I'd just like to say, in lieu of what superintendent's input is, this is a problem in our schools. This seems to be, a remedy with no consequences to us and a possible benefit. So I would support this.
Is that a motion?
So why don't you make it as a
I'll make
formalized motion?
I move that we enjoin the Idaho state lawsuit through Anderson and Giuliani with reference to Jewel.
Second the motion.
It's moved and seconded. Is there other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes, so if you would carry that information forward to the your contact and add our name to that class action lawsuit. So then we have two items as declaration of candidate as electing trustee in Zone 3 and Zone 5.
Would
Do you
like
want
me?
to? Yeah. Why don't you?
So you as a school board, by Idaho code, are seeing two declarations of candidates as elected in two of your trustee zones. Trustee Zone 3, Lonnie Williams, and Trustee Zone 5, Tanya Sherman. So declarations and petitions were accepted. That deadline has passed. There were no opponents or other people running in your zone. The withdraw deadline has passed, and now you're seeing these declarations. So what happens is your names won't even appear on the ballot. You are declared trustees for that zone, and you will be sworn in at our annual meeting the first week in January.
Yeah.
It could be the second week in January, wherever the second Tuesday lands.
Yes.
In January.
Okay. So this requires action from the board, and
So
that's
does the board have to canvass this? Are we?
No.
No?
No.
we just need to make a motion to accept the direct declaration
So
of
once you
candidate.
have declared the candidate elected in each of those trustee zones, it has been confirmed by the county clerk, Bonner County clerk, that there were no write-in candidates. As candidate for Zone 5, Tanya Sherman, she didn't withdraw. Lonnie Williams didn't withdraw. So now it is up to the school board to declare the candidates elected in each of those zones. And then I let the Bonner County clerk know again that you guys declared those elections and those seats filled, and the State Board of Education.
Okay.
Okay.
So
In that case, I make a motion that we approve the declaration of candidate elected as trustee in Zone 3, Lonnie Williams.
I second that.
moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That motion passes.
Thank you.
And I will
And
hear a second.
I'll make the motion that we accept the candidate election of Tanya Sherman in Zone 5.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes. So that's the end of action items, but we do have some.
So just moving on outside of the declarations, Then code further goes on to state, it's actually section 33502B, states that I, as the clerk of the board, need to present a certificate of election to both trustees, Tanya Sherman for zone 5 and Lonnie Williams for zone 3. I have him here, they were in the packet, so I just sign and seal, and then I file these away and make a copy and get them to those trustees.
Okay.
So there's no action needed for that.
Excellent. We had sort of a short agenda tonight, but I have time for announcements from administration, and I'll start with, do we have principals here?
We do. She's trying to. Jackie.
Oh, Jackie, Nancy, you guys are in the back row.
I just want to reiterate what Superintendent Albertson said. Thank you so much to families for keeping kids home when they're ill, but we have been open and lots of learning going on at Northside, so it's been a great week so far. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. I also will, I'm in support of everything we've said here, and I want to let everyone know that at Farmstead, the substitute shortage is real, and so we are encouraging all of those people out there that want us to come on in and sign up. We can use all the help we can get. If you're willing. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Melinda, any announcements from your school?
Oh, the Homeschool Academy is alive and kicking, and parents are being super vigilant about keeping children home with runny noses, sore throats, etc. So good participation there, lots of great learning, lots of great activities going on right now.
Thank you. Andra, do you have anything from district office?
Oh, sure. I'll just say a quick thank you to the Rotary Club of Sandpoint and the Big Chase bike ride. It was an absolute downpour, but the staff manned 2 rest stops. And we are so thankful for their give us grant funding to support reading and literacy, and we were able to do a reading training for peer educators and anyone new teaching K1 to just work on phonics, foundational skills, and we really appreciate that support.
Great. Did I miss anything?
I think we're good.
Casey McDonald?
No,
Oh, Casey was
McDonald.
here. Oh, Casey.
Casey McDonald is here.
McLaughlin.
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 McDonald is here.
Casey McDonald. Oh,
yeah.
There he is, hiding back there.
The other Casey's here.
Yeah, the other one.
Yeah, just to kind of go along, how much we appreciate the parapros that are working so hard right now. They have filled in without question everywhere that we put them in. And Betsy's leadership too she's on it. And we're getting phone calls and people are sick each day and those kinds of things. So I just shout out to our staff at Farmstead for just rolling with it and doing the best we can.
Yeah. Don't know if I missed anybody.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Superintendent Albertson, announcements.
Just kudos again out to the buildings. I've had the opportunity to be out at Clark Fork High School for a couple mornings, and they're just all hands on deck. What a great collaborative staff, respectful students, and it's just a pleasure for me to be out there. We do have in-service day, so it is a non-student day this Friday, October 1st, and this is the annual in-service day for our teachers, the one that they have this year. So it is a non-student day this Friday. So other than that, we'll keep substitutes going, keeping kids in school, and
well, with that, we are at the end of our agenda, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.